Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon, everyone. So, based on our lesson plan, today we will learn on chapter 5, which is Protista. So, in Kingdom Protista, these are the objectives that you can to achieve. So, the history did mention that Earth's atmosphere that is free from oxygen causes anaerobic bacteria to become a superior species. Therefore, most anaerobic bacteria they have an oxygen-releasing pathway that will result in the accumulations of free oxygen in the air. However, for anaerobic species that could not tolerate the free oxygen were restricted to anaerobic habitats. This is because the oxygen will be toxic to the anaerobic species that could not tolerate with the free oxygen that accumulate in the air. So the history did mention that aerobic species soon emerged in nearly all of the bacteria species, and this is explained by endosymbiosis theory. So what is endosymbiosis theory? Before that, look, this is the lineage of the history of prokaryotes and also eukaryotes. And the biologists mentioned that one lineage of heterotrophic eukaryotes engulfed a photosynthetic cyanobacterium that evolved into plastids. So, what are plastids? Plastids are major organelles found in plants and also in algae that is responsible for photosynthesis. It looks like a chloroplast, which is it is a place for the storage of products like starch and also for the synthesis of many classes of molecules. So this figure here showing the endosymbiosis theory in which the DNA contained in this ancestral prokaryote and enclosed by a plasma membrane, in which later the plasma membrane will unfold and produce another layer of membrane inside the prokaryotes. So this folding of plasma membrane later will produce the endoplasmic reticulums and also nuclear envelope that cover the DNA inside the nucleus. After that, these prokaryotes will engulf aerobic heterotrophic prokaryotes, which is referring to the mitochondria, and now it will become ancestral heterotrophic eukaryotes. Why it is called as a eukaryote? Because it contains a membrane-bound organelle, which is mitochondria. And another one will engulf photosynthetic prokaryotes, which is this one is referring to the plastic or the chloroplast, and now it also become the ancestral photosynthetic eukaryote. Why it is known as photosynthetic? Because it contains plastic. And why it is called as eukaryote? Because it contains a membrane-bound organelle. So the plastic-bearing lineage gives rise to the red algae and also the green algae that are surrounded by two membranes. When they are surrounded by only two membranes, that is caused by the process of primary endosymbiosis. The complex plastids start by secondary endosymbiosis when another eukaryote engulfs the red or red-green algae and also retain the algae plastid, which is typically surrounded by more two membranes, and it will reduce its metabolic and also photosynthetic capacity. So this causes the formations of protists with plastid up to 4 membranes. So as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 membrane, and the secondary symbiosis are the one that responsible to the diversifications of the protists. So this is the figure here show the history of the primary endosymbiosis and then the secondary endosymbiosis. I will attach send you the link of the video that showing how does this process of endosymbiosis look like. So the general characteristic of protists is divided into 5 parts. The first one is the nutrition, the second one is the group, the third one is the size of the protists, the fourth one is the way of protists reproduce, and last but not least is the habitat. So this figure show the paraphyletic group of protists that is related to several other kingdoms, such as animal, plants, and also fungi. So for usually protists can be found as a unicellular organism, colonial, or a simple multicellular organism. And protists get their food or the type of nutrition, some of them are photoautotrophs, meaning to say they produce their own food by using the source of sunlight energy, and some are heterotroph, which is they get their food by ingesting other animals, and some are mixotrophs, meaning to say a mix of photoautotroph and also heterotrophs. And the groups can be divided into 3 parts: plant-like protists, animal-like protists, fungal-like protists. Why they call as a plant-like protists? Because they contain chloroplasts. Why they are called as animal-like protists? Because they include non-photosynthetic ingestive protists, in which they ingest food by phagocytosis. And why they are known as a fungi-like protists? Because they are parasitic and produce spore to obtain a nutrient through absorption. And the size of the protists is quite a big range, from very small to quite big, like a giant kelp. And there are 2 ways of reproductions for protists: asexual reproductions and also sexual reproduction. Habitats divided into 2. Some of them are aquatic, some of them are terrestrial protists. So protists have 5 supergroups. The first one is Excavata. The second one is chromaviolets, Rhizaria, archaplastids, and also unicorns. But today we're only gonna learn on the protist supergroup of Excavata and also chromaviolets. So excavates, as you can see in the table here, excavates include protists with modified mitochondria and also protists with a unique flagella. It can be divided into diplomonads, Parabasalids, and also Euglenozoans. So look at the first one, Diplomonads and Parabasalids. Diplomonads and Parabasalid type in the group of excavates, they are unicellular, okay, and also they have reduced and modified mitochondria that is called as a mitosome. They obtain energy through glycolysis pathway, and they are very restricted to anaerobic habitats. So for example, for diplomonads subgroups is a Giardia, okay, and the Giardia are often parasites that is known as Giardia intestinalis. So this is the figure of Giardia. How does it look like in the group of diplomonads? So Giardia cells can survive outside the body as a cyst, and its content can be found in the feces contaminated water in vertebrate. So usually this Giardia intestinalis cause a disease called as Giardiasis that will cause the mild intestinal upset called backpacker diarrhea, and it is common among the campers and hiker because usually they drink the mountain water during camping or hiking. And this is the disease that caused by the Giardia intestinalis called Giardiasis, and this showing the cycle of how the Giardiasis can cause a pathogenesis. And next one, for the subgroup of Parabasalid, the example is Trichomonas. Trichomonas usually they are one of the most common sexual transmitted disease, and it will cause the foul smelling and frothy green discharge from the vagina, vaginal itching, or also redness. Okay, and this is the figure of Trichomonas. It can be transmitted to urethra of males, and then usually when it infected the males, men does not have the symptom and usually do not know they are infected until they partner the treatment, because the symptom usually shown in the female vagina only. Okay, however, when the symptom does occur, the symptom includes irritation inside the penis, mild discharge, slight burning after urination, and also ejaculation. Next type of Parabasilids example is Trichonympha. And Trichonympha lives in the termite guts, and it does help the termites to indigest cellulose in the woods that the termite consume. And these digestions of cellulose that help by the Trichonympha will provide the energy for the termites. And next group of Excavata is Euglenozoan. So Euglenozoan usually heterotrophs and also photosynthetic. Autotrophs are known as a mistostroph. So they consist of two subgroups, which is Euglenids and also kinetoplastic. So let's look at the Euglenids. Euglenids usually a motile freshwater cellular flagellates, and at the end of the body, one of the two flagella emerge, as you can see here. This is the flagella at the end of the body, and they possess paramylin, a glucose polymer that functions as storage molecules. Okay, here, look at here. This is the paramylin body, a place where the euglenid will store the food. And this is the figure, another figure here. And bear in mind, the absence of light can cause them to switch to heterotroph. From photoautotroph, they can become a heterotrophs when there is an absence of light, and it depends on the organic compound that dissolve in the water. And they also have a pellicle, a protein-rich material that can form the eye spot to direct to places that's suitable for photosynthesis. Example for euglenids is Euglenon, okay, which can produce asexually by mitosis. This is the figure of euglenids. And next subgroup of euglenids is kinetoplastids. So there are two types of kinetoplastid that example of kinetoplastids that is very important, you have to know. The first one is Trypanosoma brucei, and another one is Trypanosoma cruzi. And let's look at the first one, Trypanosoma brucei, that cause the African sleeping disease. So this Trypanosoma brucei cause African sleeping sickness, in which it can be transmitted to human through the bites of fly, and this parasite, when it bites you, it will infiltrate the whole central nervous system, and it will cause the inflammations of the brain. Thus, it will lead to the extreme exhaustions and fatigue during the day. You cannot sleep, insomnia at the night, coma, and ultimately death because of the exhaustions and also the fatigue during the day. And this is the life cycle of trypanosome. Okay, and this is the example. And next, for another example of kinetoplast is Trypanosoma cruzi, in which it is brain transferred by the kissing plugs. Usually happen in South America. This infection will cause the liver and spleen to enlarge, eyelid, face to swell up, and the brain and the heart seriously damaged. So this is the cycle of the Chagas disease, as you can see over here. So how to prevent? Even though there is no vaccine against Chagas, by improving your sanitary conditions on rural zone also can help to prevent the spread of this disease.